There was a time when the earth breathed in silence.
A time when no human called it home. The forests were seas of green, and the oceans, oceans of light. Life flourished everywhere, free, wild, and ancient. It was the Cretaceous, an era of giants. Creatures so large, they seemed sculpted by the gods. On solid ground, the triceratops wandered in herds. Under a sun that knew no winters. In the skies, enormous pterosaurs cut the air like living sails. In the seas, monsters with fins and teeth reigned over silent abysses. And among them, on land, the undisputed king. The tyrannosaurusrex, 2 tons of muscle, claws, and teeth. An ancient instinct, as old as the earth itself. It was a perfect world in its ferocity. Every creature had a role, every heartbeat a meaning. The herbivores fed on the immense ferns and conifers. The carnivores hunted at dawn, when light colored the blood and the dew. It was balance, it was life, it was pure power. And yet, even in that harmony, destiny was preparing. None among those beings knew that every step, every breath, every look
would be the last of a world.
Above them, far away, in the darkness of space, something was changing. A fragment of rock, born from the collision of ancient celestial bodies, had begun a journey that lasted millions of years. It crossed the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Silent, invisible, inevitable. And the Earth, unaware, continued to rotate, cradled by its blue sky. The seasons flowed slowly, the mountains grew, the oceans shifted. It was a living planet, but vulnerable. And in that immensity, it took only a single grain of space to change everything. That change was arriving, and no one could stop it. It was arriving, and no one could stop it. And no one could stop it. And no one could stop it. Under that blue sky, the Earth was boiling with energy. Geological forces shifted along chains of fire. Rivers of heat marked new landscapes. Every tremor, every explosion was a breath of the planet. A world in continuous mutation, where life adapted, grew, multiplied. On the great plains of the north, and in the wide valleys at the feet of the mountains. Herds of ankylosaurs advanced, slow and heavy. The armor of bone that sparkled in the sunlight like living shields. More to the south, herds of hadrosaurs crossed the rivers. Their calls resounded through the valleys like ancient songs. In the swamps, small dreamers moved in groups, rapid and curious. While among the ferns, more agile predators hid in the wait. In the forests, new species of plants flourished as never before. The insects carried the pollen between ancient flowers. And in the sky, resounded beats of wings that had not yet known fear. Among the branches, primitive birds experimented with flight. The microraptor, with its dark and shiny feathers. And under the roots, tiny mammals lived in the shadows, attentive, diffident. But already ready for a future they did not yet know they possessed. It was a world full of movement and voice, of birth and death, a fragile balance, suspended above an invisible abyss. Everything worked. Everything lived. That world was so perfect that only an apocalyptic end could be its height. The asteroid, after millions of kilometers, had entered the vicinity of the Earth. It entered its gravitational field and accelerated, past the moon's orbit. The horizon tilted towards the atmosphere. In front of it, the air began to compress and heat up. The surface became incandescent. From Earth, a continuous trail appeared, increasingly luminous. There were a few moments left to enter the denser layers. Then it became a fire. A burning globe that grew by the minute, launched at over 70,000 kilometers per hour. A large body, 10 kilometers, but with a force superior to any weapon that man would have ever been able to imagine. Its target, the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico. There, where the sea bends to form a perfect arc. Destiny was about to strike. Under it, the dinosaurs lived their last dawn. That world was so perfect that only an apocalyptic end could be its height. No one could understand what was happening.
The sky began to change color. The birds stopped singing.
The animals immobilized, as if the earth itself held its breath.
Then, the light.
A flash that obscured the sun. A roar that had no echo. Because it surpassed the sound itself.
The time stopped.
The asteroid crossed the last kilometers of sky in less than a breath. Its trail ignited the atmosphere, lighting the day like 1,000 suns. And then, it struck.
And then, it struck. And then, it struck.
The sea exploded upwards, vaporizing in an instant. The impact released an energy equal to more than 100 million megatons. The Earth's crust bent like a veil of sand. The rock melted, the sky ignited. The rock melted, the sky ignited. The rock melted, the sky ignited. In a radius of thousands of kilometers, nothing survived. A shock wave ran through the entire planet. The trees bent and then disappeared, burned instantly.
The air itself became flame.
In the sea, a wave was born higher than a kilometer. Fragments of rock and metal were thrown to the ends of the world. The tsunami crossed the oceans, sweeping away distant coasts. The seas rose, then retreated, taking everything with them. The planet transformed into a scream. But it was not over. From the sky, fragments of light began to fall. They were the rocks thrown by the impact that, after circling the world, returned. Incandescent. Small stars that fell by the thousands, illuminating the darkness just born. At first, they were isolated flashes. Then, a continuous, incessant rain. The day and night confused themselves in a single hell. The sun's light no longer filtered through. The sky, once blue, had become a wound of smoke and flames. The rain of incandescent rocks continued for hours, then for days. Every fragment that touched the ground ignited new fires, new storms of fire. The forests disappeared in a single breath. The oceans boiled, lifting poisonous vapors. The animals sought refuge, but there was no longer a refuge.
The air was fire. The ground was glass.
On the surface, the temperature exceeded 1,000 degrees. The entire planet transformed into a furnace.
Even the rocks deformed, dripping like wax.
The flames ran beyond the horizon, fed by the wind and the pain. The largest dinosaurs collapsed, suffocated by the heat.
The rivers evaporated. The clouds disappeared.
Only the sound of earthquakes accompanied the silence of the destruction. The earth trembled without rest, as if it were trying to free itself from the weight of its own destiny. The crater remained hidden under the sea. But the scar was now engraved forever in the earth. The shock waves made the tour of the world several times, reflecting themselves between oceans and mountains. Every vibration erased something: a forest, a lake, a breath. In a few hours, entire ecosystems disappeared.
The day became black.
And in the darkness, the ash fell. A fine, dense powder that covered everything. It deposited on the seas, on the bodies, on the mountains, on the open eyes of the giants.
It was the powder of the end.
And yet, even while everything burned, something survived. Underground, in the rivers, in the dens, small lives resisted.
Insects, amphibians, mammals.
They hid in the mud, in the trunks, in the holes between the rocks.